The whoosh of the message sending hit my ears before my brain caught up. I was standing alone in the empty IT room on the 27th floor, with my phone in my hand and my heart somewhere around my shoes. The blue light from the monitors turned the walls cold. The air conditioning hummed steady. My thumb was still resting on the screen like it had acted on its own. I looked down and read the message again. "You looked amazing in that dress today. I spent the whole meeting trying not to stare. If you ever drink whiskey on Friday nights, I want to be the one who pours it for you." The contact name at the top of the screen hit me in the stomach. Not Emma. Not my best friend. Ms. Cole. Madison Cole. My boss. The director of operations for Sterling Ridge Marketing. The woman who ran 3 floors of people without raising her voice. The woman who could end my job with one short email and a signature at the bottom. I felt like the floor moved. My hand started to shake. I tried to hit unsend, but the little delivered mark popped up, clear and final. 1 second later it changed. Read 11:18 p.m. Why was she even awake at 11:18 p.m. on a Friday night? I dropped into the rolling chair by the server rack. The wheels squeaked. My throat felt tight. I was 29, good at my job, and in one stupid thumb slip, I had turned my career into a burning car on the side of the road. I sucked in a breath through my nose and held it. My therapist had taught me the count when I started having panic attacks after my dad's heart attack. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, do it again. Control something small when everything big spins out. The phone buzzed in my hand. I flinched so hard my chair rolled back and bumped the wall. One new message from Ms. Cole. My thumb hovered over the screen. I could not breathe right. Firing me over text would be cold, but also efficient. She liked efficient. I forced my eyes open and read. Whiskey. Neat. Always. Another bubble appeared before I could even process that. Come to my office. 30th floor. Bring 2 glasses from the break room. My brain stalled. Then a third message came in. Shorter. Sharper. Ethan. That is the best mistake you have ever made. I stared at the last line until the words blurred. My full name on her screen. My boss using my first name. Not Miller. Not IT. Not, "Can you fix this today, Ethan?" For a full 10 seconds, my feet refused to move. My survival instinct tried to bargain. Maybe she is kidding. Maybe she is setting up a formal HR talk. Maybe I can fake a sudden illness and send an email from home later. Then another part of my brain spoke up. The stubborn part that had gotten me out of my parents' small house and into this city. You sent the message. You own it. I stood up, legs stiff. The office was quiet at this hour. Most of the lights were already off. I walked to the break room and grabbed 2 short glasses from the cabinet, the heavy kind with thick bottoms that clinked when they touched. I washed them quickly, hands under cold water, breathing steady. On the way to the elevator, every sound felt louder. The vending machine clicked. The exit sign buzzed. My sneakers squeaked on the tile. I hit the button for 30 and watched the doors slide shut. The ride took less than a minute, but my head filled it with every bad outcome I could imagine. HR forms. Security walking me out. My work email locked. My mom's face when I told her I lost another job. The way my dad would say it happens and pretend it did not hurt him. I shook my hands out and rolled my shoulders back. By the time the doors opened, I had at least convinced my legs not to buckle. The 30th floor felt like another world. Our floors downstairs smelled like coffee and printer ink. This one smelled like fake lemon and money. The carpet was thick. The lights were softer. The wall of glass at the far end showed the Chicago skyline like it belonged to her. Her office door stood half open. A strip of warm light cut across the hallway. I paused outside and knocked twice with my knuckles. Short, clear. My heart pounded so loud I was sure she could hear it. "Come in," she called. Her voice was smooth. No edge I could hear. I stepped inside. Madison Cole stood by the floor-to-ceiling window with her back to me. The city lights painted her reflection on the glass. She was not wearing the sharp navy blazer from earlier. She had on a simple black dress with the sleeves pushed up to her elbows and her hair loose, softer than the tight knot she wore at meetings. On her desk sat a half-empty bottle of whiskey and a neat stack of files. No laptop, no other phone. Just her, the city, and the quiet. She turned when I closed the door. Her eyes went straight to the glasses in my hands, then to my face. She took me in like she was reading a report. Dark eyes, no rush, no panic. I forced myself to hold her gaze. "You came fast," she said. "I thought you were about to fire me," I said before I could stop myself. One side of her mouth lifted. "And you still came." I set the glasses on the small table near the sofa. My fingers brushed the wood, cool and smooth. I tried to stand like a normal person, not like someone about to pass out. "Sit, Ethan," she said. "If I planned to fire you, I would not do it in heels at midnight." I sat, back straight, hands on my knees. My hoodie suddenly felt very out of place in this room of glass and chrome. She walked over, took the bottle, and poured whiskey into both glasses. The sound of liquid hitting glass seemed louder than it should. "First," she said, handing me one, "you are not fired." My fingers tightened around the glass. "I sent you a text that should have gone to someone else." She tilted her head. "Did you really?" I opened my mouth to say yes, to claim it as a simple wrong contact, nothing more. The lie got stuck somewhere between my chest and my tongue. I thought of the way she had looked at the client this morning when he talked over her. Calm face, steel eyes. I thought of how she had still thanked everyone in the room at the end of the meeting, including the intern who spilled coffee on the table. I thought of how my hands had shaken then too, but for a very different reason. "No," I said at last, "I did not." Her eyebrows lifted a little. "Good. I hate cowardice more than I hate typos." She took a slow sip of her drink and watched me over the rim. "You looked right at me in that meeting," she said. "When Mark tried to talk over me for the third time," she set the glass down, "you did not say anything, but your jaw clenched. You think I did not notice that?" Heat crawled up my neck. I was just angry. He was disrespectful. "And your solution was to text your boss that she looked amazing in her dress and that you wanted to pour her whiskey," she said. Her tone was light, but the words still made my chest tighten. "Interesting strategy, Ethan." "I know it was wrong," I said. "I understand if I crossed a line. I will accept whatever you decide. I will not cause trouble with HR." She studied me for a long moment, quiet. The city hummed beyond the glass. Somewhere below, a siren wailed, faint and distant. "Relax," she said. "I am not going to report you for sexual harassment." Her mouth curved again, just a little. "If I did that every time a man in this company thought something improper about me, the HR team would quit." I swallowed. "Then why am I here?" She walked closer, heels soft on the carpet. She stopped just far enough that I had to tilt my head back a little to keep looking at her face. "Because you did what everyone else is too afraid to do," she said. "You made a mistake that exposed the truth. You think I do not know when someone sees me as a title and nothing else." My heart thudded. "I was not trying to make you uncomfortable." "You did not," she said. Her eyes shone with something I could not name yet. "You reminded me I am still a woman in this building, not only a boss." She lifted her glass again. "And like I said," she added, voice low and even, "that is the best mistake you have ever made." She clinked her drink against mine. The sound rang clear between us. "Now," she said, "drink. We have a different kind of problem to solve. And I am not doing it alone anymore." My pulse jumped. "What problem?" I asked. She looked toward the closed door, then back at me. "Someone on my team is trying to push me out," she said. "And I need the only person in this company who is brave enough to send me a flirty text by accident." My fingers tightened around the glass. I had no idea that one wrong message would pull me into something this big, but I raised the whiskey to my lips anyway. She did not explain right away. She let the whiskey settle between us first. I took a small sip. It burned in the best way. Warmth slid down my throat and spread into my chest. My hands stopped shaking. "Start from the beginning," I said. "Who is trying to push you out?" Quote, Madison moved to her desk and tapped the screen of her tablet. A graph lit up. Numbers, red and green lines, dates. She spoke like she was giving a briefing, but there was a tightness around her mouth that had not been there in the morning. "Q3, she said. "Our performance should have cleared every target. Instead, we landed just under the mark. Not low enough to be a disaster, but low enough to make the board nervous. Then 2 of our key clients walked away with very thin excuses. Competitors, I guessed," she nodded once. "They offered deals that matched confidential terms no one outside this building should know. Someone is feeding them information. Conveniently, the problems all land in my department. Operations, the perfect place to blame when anything breaks." I leaned forward on the sofa. "Have you talked to IT already?" Her eyes flicked to me. "Official IT? Yes. They ran standard scans. They said everything looks clean. You and I both know clean logs do not mean clean hands." She was right. Any idiot could delete a log. A smart thief made it look like nothing had ever happened. "So why me?" I asked. "I am still the guy who sent you a flirty text by mistake." She almost smiled. "Because you are also the guy who flagged that bad firewall patch 3 weeks ago, when everyone else signed off. You sent me a report at 3 in the morning and told me we would get hit if we installed it." "You read that?" I asked. "I read everything," she said. "And you were right. 3 other branches that installed it went down for 6 hours. We did not." I remembered that night. I had been alone with cold coffee and the glow of my monitor. I did not know anyone above my direct manager even noticed the alert. She stepped closer to the sofa again. "I need someone who sees what others miss," she said. "Someone who is not scared of whoever is pulling strings upstairs. You work in the shadows of this building all day. Server rooms, cables, badge readers. You see patterns the board never thinks about." "You were asking me to investigate your own team," I said. "I am asking you," she answered, "to help me protect the people who are not trying to stab me in the back." She sat down on the other end of the sofa, leaving a solid space between us. Not touching, but closer than boss and employee usually sat. I could smell her perfume now, clean and sharp with something warm under it. "What exactly do you want me to do?" I asked. "Look at everything," she said. "Access logs, file changes, badge swipes. I will give you my full permission in writing. I want to know who has been acting like they own this place when they do not." I studied her profile. Strong jaw, tired eyes, shoulders that looked like they were carrying the whole floor. "There have to be rules," I said. "If I do this, I stay on the right side of legal. No hacking people's personal phones, no planting fake evidence, no going after someone just because you do not like them." Her eyes snapped back to mine. "You think I want a witch hunt?" she said. "I think you have a lot to lose," I said. "And when people are scared, they can make bad calls." "I do not want to become that bad call." She held my gaze for a long beat. Then she nodded. "All right," she said. "You set the rules. You send everything through my email so there is a record. If we find anything, legal sees it first. And one more thing," I added, hoping I would not regret it. "We keep the text out of this, no mixed lines. What I said tonight and what we are doing for the company stay separate." Something in her expression softened at that. She looked almost disappointed, then covered it quickly. "Of course," she said, voice cool again. "This is about work." She pushed herself up and walked to the other side of the desk. "Come here. If we are doing this, we start now." I followed her. She slid her chair aside and let me take the seat in front of her monitor. Standing behind me, she leaned over to type her password. For a second, her shoulder brushed mine. The contact sent a small jolt up my arm. "Focus," I told myself. She stepped back while I opened the system dashboard. Her access level was near the top. It felt like someone had handed me a master key to the building. "I will pull audit logs for the last 90 days, I said. "Any access to sensitive folders, especially outside business hours." I worked fast. My fingers knew what to do, even while my brain tried to process the fact that my boss was pacing behind me in a black dress at midnight. Within minutes, lines of data filled the screen. Times, user IDs, locations. I sorted by hour. Most traffic hit between 8 and 6. Normal. Then, a different pattern appeared. Here, I said, pointing. These logins were between midnight and 2 in the morning. More than once. Always to the same shared drive. Strategy and legal drafts. Madison stepped closer to read over my shoulder. I could feel the warmth of her body behind me, just inches away. "Whose account?" she asked. I clicked the ID and pulled up the user profile. My stomach tightened when the name appeared. "Yours?" I said. Her jaw clenched. "I was not here those nights." "Then someone used your credentials," I said. "Either they stole your password or they have a device with your token." Her eyes flashed. "I do not write my password down. I log out when I leave. And my laptop does not leave this office." I believed her. I had seen her lock her screen with a quick tap every time she stepped away in meetings. "Someone is logging in as you," I said slowly, "which means they want you blamed if anything leaks." Silence settled between us, heavy, real. The hum of the building felt louder again. "Can you trace where the logins came from?" she asked. "Not tonight," I said, "but I can start. I will need to set a trap. A new folder that looks important and see who sniffs around it." "A bait," she said. "Exactly," I said. "And I will flag any device that tries to open it under your name. We make sure we know which machine is pretending to be you." She nodded once. "Do it." Quote. I started building the folder, labeling it with something boring enough to pass but tempting for anyone looking for leverage. Budget review, strategic vendor notes, things that made greedy people curious. The clock on the wall ticked past 1. "You eaten tonight?" I asked suddenly. She blinked like I had spoken another language. "What?" "Food," I said. "Have you eaten any actual food today that was not coffee or a protein bar from a vending machine?" She hesitated. "I had a muffin at 9. "In the morning?" I asked. "Yes." "That does not count," I said. I saved my work and stood. "Keep an eye on the desk." "Do not touch the keyboard. I will be right back." She watched me with a puzzled frown as I left. The floor was mostly dark, but the hallway lights near the elevator still glowed. I took the stairs down 1 level to the kitchen on 29, grabbed the first decent things I could find in the company fridge, and stopped at the vending machine for chips and a chocolate bar. When I came back, she was still standing by the desk, arms crossed, eyes on the monitor like it might move. "What is all this?" she asked. "Emergency dinner," I said, dropping everything on the small table. "Turkey sandwich, apple juice, chips. It is not a 5-star restaurant, but it will keep you standing." She stared at the food, then up at me. For the first time since I had known her, she looked a little lost. "No one has ever brought me dinner at the office," she said quietly. "Then other people are idiots," I said. "You make decisions for 3 floors of people. You cannot do that on a muffin." She let out a breath that sounded like it had been held for a day. "You know this is not part of your job description," she said. "Neither is playing detective for your department," I said. "Yet here we are." A slow smile warmed her face. She sat on the sofa and unwrapped the sandwich. I went back to the desk, but my attention kept drifting to the sound of the paper, the small clink of the juice bottle, the way her shoulders dropped as she finally ate. "Thank you," she said after a few bites. "You are welcome," I answered. We worked together for another hour in that strange quiet. She reviewed printed reports while I dug through patterns on screen. Sometimes our eyes met above the monitor. Every time, something unspoken passed between us. At 3 in the morning, the first alert hit. A new login, flagged as her account, from a device I had never seen. Attempted access to the bait folder. My heart kicked. "Madison," I said, "we have company." She was at my side in 3 steps, eyes sharp again. On the screen, a device ID blinked like a small warning light. I did not know it yet, but whoever sat behind that machine was about to change both our lives. The device ID blinked again. Same line. Same fake version of her account. I pulled the keyboard closer. "Come on," I muttered. "Show me where you live." Madison stood at my shoulder. I could feel how tense she was without even looking. Her arms were folded, but one hand opened and closed, like she was stopping herself from pacing. "Can you see what machine that is?" she asked. I nodded and opened a deeper system panel. I traced the device ID through the network map. Every workstation on every floor had a small dot. Most were dark. A few late-night dots glowed near the lower floors. One dot flashed steady on the screen. 30th floor. West side. Near her area. "There," I said. "Office cluster by the conference rooms. That group of 5. "Those belong to my direct team," she said quietly. "Project leads, senior managers." The blinking dot sat on the edge of the cluster. I hovered the cursor over it. A label popped up. WS30GT. GT, I said. "Initials?" Madison's jaw went tight. "Grant Turner, senior strategy lead." I knew the name. Everyone did. Grant was the guy who joked too loud in meetings. Slid in comments about upper management, like he already had a key to the top floor. He liked to talk about what the board wanted. He liked to talk for her. "He has my token," she said. I shook my head. "Not exactly. He is using a cloned credential on that machine. Someone copied your token and loaded it into his profile. That is why it looks like you. He is smart enough not to use his own account." "Smart," she said. "We're just used to getting away with things." The device tried the bait folder again. Access denied. The alert log filled with attempts. Someone was very curious. "He is knocking," I said. "He wants what is in that folder." "So we let him in," she said. I looked back at her. "If I change the permission now, he will know something is strange. The bait has to feel normal to him." "Can you make it look like I opened it myself?" she asked. "That is already happening," I said. "On paper, it looks like you are the one who keeps touching that folder." That is the whole point for him. She swore under her breath, a low word I had never heard from her mouth before. "Okay," she said, "walk me through this. Like I am just another server you are fixing. What do we do next?" I thought for a second. We prove that his physical machine is the one doing this, not just a number on a screen. "How?" she asked. "Tomorrow," I said. "You call an early meeting with your senior leads, all of them, including Grant. While they are in the room, I will go to his desk with legal and IT. We will capture that workstation while it is still logged in with your fake credentials. We take images of the drive. We document everything. He cannot say we set him up." "And the late-night logins?" she asked. "We already have those," I said. "Once we tie the device to him, his story starts to fall apart." She watched me, eyes searching my face like she was weighing the risk of each word. "That means tonight we do nothing," she said. "We keep logging," I said. "We do not tip him off. If he feels safe, he will dig deeper. He will give us more." Madison's shoulders slowly dropped a fraction. She nodded once. "All right," she said. "Set it up. I will get legal and HR to clear the workstation capture." "I will write a short summary," I said. "You send it from your email, so it is official. No backroom surprises." She stared at the screen one more time, like she wanted to reach through it and drag Grant out by his tie. Then she moved away from my shoulder and went back to the sofa. I typed fast, put the facts in simple lines. Unauthorized logins under her name from Grant's workstation. Repeated attempts to access a confidential folder. Request for proper evidence collection first thing in the morning. I saved it. She read it. She sent it. When it was done, the room felt still again. The clock on the wall read almost 4. "You should go home," she said suddenly. "You have done enough tonight. You do not need to babysit my enemies." I turned the chair to face her. She sat on the sofa with her legs pulled under her. Shoes kicked off beside the table. The empty sandwich wrapper folded into a neat square. The black dress looked softer now, less armor, more human. "If I leave now," I said, "I will just lie awake staring at the ceiling and running through worst-case scenes in my head. At least here I can watch the logs and pretend I am in control." She let out a small breath that might have been a laugh. "Honest answer," she said. "I like that." I closed the laptop and pushed it back a little. The logs would continue to collect in the background. I had set alerts to ping my phone if anything changed. "You should sleep," I said. "You have to face these people in a few hours." "In this dress?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. "In any dress," I said. The words slipped out too fast. "I mean, in any clothes. You know what I mean." She watched me, amused. "Relax, Ethan. I know what you meant." "I can crash on the other sofa," I said. "Or in the small conference room across the hall. If an alert hits, I am 2 steps away." "You plan to sleep at the office?" she asked. I shrugged. It would not be the first time. Servers do not care about my schedule. She was quiet for a moment. Then she patted the cushion beside her. "Sit for a second," she said. "I am too wired to sleep yet." I crossed the room and sat on the far side of the sofa, leaving a respectful space. Close, but not close enough to touch without trying. The city lights painted her face in pale gold and blue. "This is strange," she said softly. "What is?" I asked. "Sitting here with you," she said. "Talking about my fears. Eating vending machine chips. Trusting you with things I have not said to anyone on my team, all because you sent me a text that was supposed to be a mistake." I turned my glass in my hands. The ice had melted. "It was not supposed to be a mistake," I said quietly. "I just expected it to stay stuck in my drafts forever." She looked at me, curious. "I write things I cannot say sometimes," I said. "Notes on my phone, messages I never send. It gets the feeling out of my head. Tonight I reached for the wrong name. Or maybe the right one." Her gaze did not drop. "What else have you typed and not sent?" I let out a careful breath. "You do not want to know." "I think I do," she said. Silence stretched between us, not empty, full. "I typed once," I said slowly, "that I respect the way you walk into a room full of men who underestimate you and never flinch. I typed that the way you hold your ground makes me want to stand straighter at the back of the room, that when you look at a problem you make me want to fix it for you, even if it is not my job." Her eyes softened as I spoke. Something vulnerable flickered there. "And that dress?" she asked. I swallowed. "That was real too." She leaned back against the sofa, still looking at me. "Do you know what it is like to walk around this place and be seen only as a role?" she asked. "Boss, gatekeeper, obstacle. No one brings you food. No one worries if you have eaten. You become a function." "I see you," I said before I could stop myself. "Not just the title." The air between us changed. Her breath slowed. Mine did too. She shifted a little closer. Our knees did not quite touch, but they could with one more inch. "This is where I should say we cannot cross that line," she said quietly. "That it is unprofessional, that you report to me, and I sign your checks." "You do not have to say anything," I said. "We can keep it clean. Do the job. Walk away when it is done." "Is that what you want?" she asked. I met her eyes. "No." Her hand lifted, then stopped halfway, hanging in the air. "I need to hear it," she said. "All of it. No masks tonight." "I want you," I said. The words came out steady. "Not just the boss version. The woman who is tired and still keeps going. The one who drinks whiskey neat. The one who looked at me tonight and did not fire me when she could have. I want to protect your name in that boardroom and then come back here and sit on this sofa and forget for 5 minutes that the rest of the building exists." Her eyes shone. The hard line of her mouth relaxed. She moved closer, slow enough that I could have moved away if I wanted. I did not. Her knee brushed mine. She did not pull back. "Consent," she said, her voice low. "If I kiss you right now, it is not because I am your boss. It is because I am Madison, and I want to. Do you understand?" "Yes," I said. My pulse pounded in my ears, but my voice did not shake. "I understand." "Do you want that?" she asked. "Yes," I said again. She reached up and curled her fingers lightly around the back of my neck. The touch sent a line of heat down my spine. She paused there, giving me one last chance to step back. I did not. She leaned in and pressed her mouth to mine. The kiss was not gentle and not rough. It was careful, like she was learning a map she planned to remember. Her lips were warm. Her hands stayed steady at my neck. I lifted my hand to her waist, resting it there without pulling her closer until she shifted into me on her own. Everything in my chest that had been tight all night loosened. My shoulders dropped. My fists, clenched since the moment that text went out, finally relaxed. When we broke apart, she kept her forehead against mine. "That text?" she whispered. "You were right. It was the best mistake you ever made." I started to answer, but a sharp ping cut through the thick quiet. We both turned. My laptop screen had lit up from sleep. A new alert flashed in bright red. Unauthorized copy request. Same device, ID. Same fake account. But this time, the log showed more. A large transfer attempt directed to an external drive. "He is pulling data right now," I said. Madison straightened, all CEO again in a second, even with her lips still flushed. "Can you stop him?" "No," I said, already getting to my feet. "We do something better." "What?" she asked, following. "We catch him in the act," I said, "with witnesses." My heart hammered for a new reason now, not because I had kissed my boss. Because in a few minutes, we were both walking into a fight that could take everything away. And for the first time in my life, I was not planning to fight it alone. My heart kicked hard when that red alert flashed. It felt like the room shrank. "He just connected an external drive," I said. "He is pulling a big batch." Madison was already moving toward the door. Her bare feet were silent on the carpet. She stopped to slip her heels back on, like armor. "What do we need?" she asked. "Witnesses," I said. "Legal, security, someone who can say we did this by the book." She grabbed her phone from the desk. Her hands were steady now. "You call building security," she said. "I will wake legal." We split. I hit the hallway and headed for the security station on the corner of the floor. The night guard, Tony, looked up from his screen with a tired blink. "Ethan," he said. "You still here?" Quote, "We have a possible data theft happening on this floor right now," I said. "I need you and your logbook." His eyes sharpened. He reached for his radio without another word. By the time we got back to Madison's office, she was hanging up her own call. Her face was pale but calm. "Legal is on the way," she said. "Internal counsel and HR both. They are grabbing an evidence kit." "Good," I said. "We go to his workstation only when they arrive. If we walk in alone, it is our word against his." We stood there for a few long minutes that felt like hours. The alert kept blinking on my screen. Every few seconds, another line appeared. "Copy attempt, copy attempt, copy attempt." "He is greedy," I said. "He is trying to take everything at once." "You sound almost happy about that," she said. "Greed leaves fingerprints," I answered. The elevator dinged. 3 people stepped off. Internal counsel, Ms. Ramirez, in jeans and a blazer, hair pulled into a messy knot. HR director, Mr. Lewis, rubbing sleep from his eyes but clearly awake inside. A second guard, in uniform, behind them. Madison straightened. In an instant, she was the director of operations again. "Thank you for coming so fast," she said. Ms. Ramirez held up a small hard case. "You said it was urgent. Catch me up as we walk." We moved as a group down the dim hallway. I explained in simple words. For weeks, someone had logged in under Madison's name from another workstation. Tonight, we set a bait folder. The same fake account just tried to copy large amounts of data to an external drive. "And you can tie it to a specific machine?" Ms. Ramirez asked. "Yes," I said. "Grant Turner's station. If it is not him sitting there, whoever is there is using his profile." We stopped outside the small cluster of offices. The door to Grant's room was half closed. A strip of light glowed on the carpet. Tony nodded to the second guard. They took positions on either side of the door. "You ready?" Ms. Ramirez asked Madison. "No," Madison said, "but we go anyway." She pushed the door open. Grant sat at his desk in a wrinkled shirt, hair pushed back, glasses low on his nose. An external hard drive was plugged into the side of his tower. The screen was filled with folder windows. Strategy, client pricing, forecasts. He jerked like he had been hit by a bucket of cold water. "Miss Cole," he said, "I was just catching up on some reports for Monday." "At 4 in the morning," she said, using my credentials. He laughed once, too quick. "What? No. Your name just shows on the shared folder. My login is fine. IT told me there were some glitches. It is all clean." "Step away from the keyboard, Mr. Turner," Ms. Ramirez said. "Do not touch the mouse. Do not close anything." Grant's eyes darted between faces. He spotted me behind the others and his mouth twisted. "You brought the IT kid to a witch hunt," he said. I did not answer. I did not need to. Tony unplugged the hard drive carefully, without touching any buttons, and held it up. "That device stays with us now," Ms. Ramirez said. "Forensic imaging, chain of custody, you know the words." Grant's smile cracked. "This is insane," he said. "You cannot just storm into my office in the middle of the night and treat me like a criminal. I am a senior lead. The board trusts me." "The board trusts results," Madison said calmly, "and they trust evidence. You will have a chance to explain everything when we all meet in a few hours." "Meet?" he repeated. His face lost some color. "Yes," she said. "Emergency session at 9. You will be there. So will I. So will they." She did not have to say "they" out loud. Everyone in the room knew she meant the people who sat at the long table and decided who stayed and who went. Ms. Ramirez moved in front of the monitor. "I am recording the current state of this workstation," she said. "Mr. Lewis, please witness." She took pictures of the screen with her phone, the time in the corner, the open windows, the logged-in account still showing Madison's name in the corner. She had Grant read his full name and employee number aloud while she recorded. "This is ridiculous," he muttered. "It is some kind of tech trick. You two probably set this up after hours. A little romance show in the boss's office, right?" He shot me a nasty grin. "I see who you bring food for now." Heat flared in my chest, but I kept my face blank. Let him swing. Madison's expression did not change, but I saw a small spark of anger in her eyes. "You are out of line," Mr. Lewis said sharply. "Stop speaking now and call your lawyer if you have one. Anything else you say is being noted." Grant finally shut up. His jaw worked, but no sounds came out. When we went back to Madison's office, the sky outside the windows was turning from black to gray. Dawn was coming, whether we were ready or not. She closed the door behind us and leaned against it for a second. Her shoulders sagged. "You okay?" I asked. She let out a breath. "Ask me that, after the board meeting." I wanted to walk over and pull her into my arms. Instead, I picked up my laptop again. "We have enough," I said. "The logs, the drive, the workstation capture. Even if he tries to twist it, the pattern is clear." She pushed off the door and came closer. "And us," she said quietly. "Are we clear?" Quote. I knew what she meant. The kiss, the text, the way we sat on that sofa like the rest of the world did not exist. "We keep it out of this," I said. "At least for now. No one needs to know what happened in this room tonight except us." Her eyes searched mine. "Do you regret it?" Quote. "No," I said. "Do you?" She shook her head once. "Not for a second." "Then we deal with one fire at a time," I said. "First Grant, then the board, then us." She nodded slowly. "After the meeting, I will talk to HR about moving you to a different reporting line," she said. "If we decide to cross that line again, I want it clean. I do not want anyone to say I used my position." "You would do that?" I asked. "I would rather lose your direct work than lose your respect," she said. My throat tightened. I had no answer for that. That would not sound small. "Deal," I said at last. The hours between dawn and 9 passed in a blur of coffee, emails, and short naps in the chair. At 8:45, we took the elevator together to the 28th floor, where the boardroom sat like a glass box. Outside the door, she stopped. "Last chance to walk away," she said. "If you do not go in there, you can say you were just following orders. You do not have to stand next to me." I am exactly where I want to be, I said. Her eyes softened. She squeezed my hand once. It was quick, hidden between our bodies, but it was real. Inside, the long table was already half full. Gray suits, serious faces, the board chair at the head. Grant on one side, looking pale and polished in a fresh shirt. His lawyer beside him. Ms. Ramirez and Mr. Lewis sat near the end, with a laptop and a stack of files. Madison walked to the far end of the table and took her place. I sat against the wall with IT, technically an observer, but every nerve in my body felt like it was on the table with her. The chair cleared his throat. "Miss Cole, you requested this urgent session," he said. "You claimed a serious breach inside your own department. We are listening." She did not look at me. She did not need to. "Over the last quarter," she said, "our confidential strategies have appeared in competitors' offers. Every time the trail led back to my division. That is why I asked for help." She nodded once in my direction. "We found unauthorized access under my credentials from Mr. Turner's workstation. Last night, those same credentials were used to attempt a mass copy of sensitive data to an external device." Grant's lawyer stood. "Mr. Turner denies these accusations," he said. "Anyone with technical skill could have framed his workstation. Perhaps an IT contractor with a grudge. Or perhaps," Ms. Ramirez said calmly, "a senior lead who thought he was too important to get caught. We have timestamps. We have logs. We have the drive. We have the fact that Mr. Turner was sitting at that very machine when we entered his office with security at 4:15 this morning." She plugged the drive into the isolated station and projected the contents on the wall screen. Folders opened in clear view. Names, dates, export logs. The bait folder, accessed under Madison's name, then copied while Grant was at the keyboard. The room was silent, except for the click of keys. "This is not what it looks like," Grant said. Sweat beaded at his temple. "I was cleaning up files. There was a glitch. Madison's name showed on my account. This is all overblown. She just needs a scapegoat to cover her department's failures." The chair turned to Madison. "Is that what this is?" he asked. "A distraction?" Madison met his gaze without flinching. "No," she said. "If I wanted to hide, I would have kept my head down and hoped you blamed the leak on some junior employee. I brought you proof against one of my own senior leads. If you choose to believe him over me, that is your decision. But I will not run this company's operations while someone like that is rewarded for stealing from us." Her voice did not shake, not once. The chair studied her for a long moment. Then he looked at the screen again. He looked at Grant. He looked at Ms. Ramirez. "Is there any doubt in legal's mind," he asked, "that this evidence points to Mr. Turner and not to Ms. Cole or Mr. Miller?" "No," Ms. Ramirez said. "The pattern is clear. The cloned credential on his workstation, the late-night access times, his presence on site during the copy attempt. We are confident." The chair leaned back. "Then my recommendation is simple," he said. "We terminate Mr. Turner for cause, notify the authorities, and move forward with Ms. Cole's leadership intact. All in favor?" Hands went up around the table. Mine curled into fists in my lap. I forced myself to breathe. The motion passed. Grant sputtered, but his lawyer pulled him back. Security stepped in. As he was led out, he shot Madison a look full of hate. "This is not over," he said. "Yes," she answered quietly. "It is." When the doors closed behind him, the room felt bigger, lighter. The chair turned back to Madison. "You have handled this well," he said. "You protected the company and brought us a clear case. We will want a written report, but for now, take the day. You look like you have been up all night." "I have," she said. His mouth twitched, almost a smile. "Then go home," he said. "Get some rest. We need your brain working, not crashing." The meeting broke up. People filed out in clusters. No one spoke to me. That was fine. My work was done. I waited by the window until she walked over. "Come with me," she said. We rode the elevator down in silence. At the lobby, she did not turn toward the exit. She headed for the side door instead. where a quiet hallway led to a small courtyard almost no one used. The air outside was cool. The sky was bright now. People hurried along the sidewalk, going to jobs where no one knew their names. She stood under a small tree and looked up at the patch of blue between buildings. "You saved me," she said. "You saved yourself," I answered. "You stood in that room and refused to bend. I just did the part one know how to do." She turned to face me. There were faint, dark circles under her eyes. Her hair was messy from hours of running her hands through it. She had never looked more beautiful to me. "They might ask questions," she said, "about how much time we spent together last night, about the fact that you were in my office at midnight." "I will tell them the truth," I said. "You called me about a work concern. We set up a trap. We stayed to watch the logs. We got emergency food so you did not pass out during a crisis." Her mouth curved. "That is the safe version," she said. "It is the version they need," I said. "The rest belongs to us." She stepped closer. My back touched the low brick wall behind me. "About that," she said. "The rest. I am serious about what I said earlier. I do not want this to be a secret I am ashamed of. I want it clean. I will ask HR to move you to a different department. Maybe a systems architect role that reports directly to IT. You are already doing half that job anyway." "You would give me up as your tech guy?" I asked. She smiled, small and soft. "I will still ask for your help," she said, "but not because I sign your timesheets, because you choose to be there." "And us?" I asked. "What do we call that?" She reached up and smoothed a wrinkle in my hoodie like it mattered. "Call it whatever feels true," she said. "Partner, boyfriend, the man who brings me food and fights for my name. I only know one thing for sure." "What?" I asked. "I want to see where this goes," she said. "Not because I am tired or scared or grateful, because last night, when you looked at me and said you see me, I believed you. No one else has made me believe that in a long time." My chest felt tight again, but in a different way. "I want that too," I said. "All of it. The hard board meetings. The late-night calls. The stupid texts I probably should not send." She laughed once, a real laugh this time. "Text me," she said. "On purpose this time." She lifted her hand to my face, fingers warm against my jaw. "Consent?" she said. "Even here, even now." "Yes," I said. She kissed me again. There was no alert, no alarm, no red flashing line on a screen, just the sound of the city and the beat of my own heart. When we pulled back, her forehead rested against mine. "Funny thing about mistakes," I said quietly. "Sometimes they show you what you really wanted all along." She smiled, eyes closed. "And sometimes," she said, "they send the right message to the right person at exactly the right time." Quote, "That night, when I lay in my small apartment staring at the ceiling, my phone buzzed. A text from her. "You looked incredible in that boardroom today. I spent the whole hour wondering if you drink whiskey or wine on Friday nights." I stared at the screen, a slow grin spreading across my face. I typed my answer without overthinking this time. "Whiskey. Neat. With you."